Hi, I'm Caitlin Weiss. I am a trauma therapist and a trauma-informed yoga teacher, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about 6 ways to ground yourself. So grounding is, in my opinion, the most important thing when we're thinking about trying to heal our trauma and move forward in our lives. And the reason why is because in order for us to do that work, for us to process our trauma, we really have to be connected to our body, and we need to be regulated in our nervous system, because we don't want to be completely, anxious, out of our window of tolerance, which I can talk about another time, when we're doing this work, because then it won't be effective, right? So some of the ways that we can stay connected to our body and regulate our nervous system are called grounding skills. And I'm just going to give you a couple of those today. And you can see what you think, give them a try, and let me know what you think. So the first skill is to start with our 5 senses. And this one is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you start by naming 5 things you can see. Okay, so if you're by yourself, you can do it out loud, or if you're with other people, you can do it internally. So 5 things you can see, then 4 things you can feel, and you're going to actually feel them. Because the point here is that we're looking for texture, we're looking for something to bring us back into our body. So just like pointing out, oh yeah, I could feel that, it's not going to give us what we need, right? So we're going to feel it. So 4 things we can feel, then 3 things we can hear. So with all of these things, you can be as creative as you want, right? You can create a playlist of calming songs or noises, all of those things. Or you can just keep it really simple and just try and notice what you hear around you. Then 2 things you can smell, and just like the feel, we're gonna actually touch them. So for example, here's one thing, right? An essential oil. So it's smelling that, noticing how it smells, how you would describe it. Finding something else, here's lotion, smelling that. And then one thing you can taste. And what's most important about the taste piece is that that's really gonna help our, when we're in fight or flight, right? So when I'm in a place of anxiety or anger, my nervous system starts to kind of turn on or act a little differently, and my body will actually stop producing as much saliva. Okay, so when you are tasting something or drinking water, that is going to kind of trick your brain in a way to produce more saliva and kind of override that response. So that's the first one. Some other ones are 2 would be starting to pick a color. And this one, again, it can be as easy or as, complex as you want, but picking a color. So looking around, naming all the things you see that are that color. So orange, and then I'd look around and, this is orange, and, the top of this is orange, and that sort of thing. Another option for a grounding skill is to ask yourself a silly question. And the point of that is that when we are in a fight or flight response, our prefrontal cortex, so the thinking part of our brain, goes offline. And so by asking ourselves a silly question, we're actually changing the blood flow in our brain to help it get back online. So what kind of questions do you ask yourself? Really, it could be anything you want, but it's got to be something that makes you think. So for example, how much gas do you have in your car? When's the last time you went to the dentist? How would you describe turn-by-turn directions to get to your house, or whatever it is? Those are all going to be ways that you can, reconnect with that thinking part of your brain and kind of get that back online. Another option is to hug somebody that you trust. So this is really helpful because when we're in that fight or flight, we really benefit from skin to skin contact, okay? Because that releases oxytocin. It's a feel-good neurotransmitter, and that's going to help our nervous system to kind of slow down, slow down, slow down. So I like to say, find someone that you feel comfortable with, right? Because if we've experienced trauma, touch might be hard for us. So maybe that's giving yourself self-massage, right? Or cuddling with your pet, whatever it needs to look like for you to feel comfortable. Do that. Do what works for you. And like I like to say with all these things, practice makes perfect. Scratch that. It's not going to make it perfect because we're not perfect, but practice makes it easier for us to remember when we need it, right? When the shit hits the fan, we're more likely to remember that skill if we've used it. So I would say that. And the last thing I would say is try this and see what works for you, because there are a million grounding skills. Just like there are, millions of different people. Not every skill is going to work for every person, but it's about finding a few that really work for you. So I hope that you found this helpful. If so, please scroll down and you can see the infographic that I created with a little bit of information about each of the things, and you can feel free to download that, share it with a friend, and thanks for your time. Hope you enjoy the grounding skills.